let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up, and let's go.
Happy Tuesday, man, coming off a beautiful Monday, kicking things off right here on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or on the Android Rush Radio app, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, give this channel a subscription, give the video a like. You can start leaving your comments in the comments section, interact with all the listeners. It's a nice little side conversation that takes place all the time. It's a show within a show, really. You can follow us on X, Facebook, and, of course, Instagram. Hello there, Ross Peterson.
What's up, buddy? How's your Tuesday?
Well, so far so good, considering it's like 2 hours old for me. You know,
Yeah.
2 hours old.
It's about an hour old for me. So, a lot of day to screw up yet, my friend.
Oh, you're not going to screw anything up today.
No, I didn't mean I'm going to screw it up. I just meant a lot of day. What do they say when you got a long shot in table or in pool? A lot of table there, a lot of green.
My day's going to be my day's going to be longer. Normally, I'm in bed, by 9 o'clock. I'm getting old, and I need my geriatric sleep because it's just the way I am now. I just naturally just kind of fall asleep. My brother is on his way home from Portugal.
Did he get out of Portugal yesterday?
Yeah, we didn't know if this was going to happen or not because, yesterday, right before we got off the air, I told you there was a massive power outage in all of Europe. Well, it turns out it wasn't all of Europe. It was a lot of Spain and a lot of Portugal. And we're talking loss of power. We're talking everything. He lost power, cell phone, everything went out. Now, they're saying it's some kind of natural weather phenomenon, like change of temperature that knocked out the power grid. That sounds a little iffy to me. It's like if all else fails, just blame the weather. It's like, how do you lose all of power in two countries because of weather?
That the entire Iberian region, so like the northern third of Spain, and then if not all of Portugal, most of Portugal.
Yeah, and
they claimed it was natural phenomenons that caused the power grid to go down.
So he texted me right before we got off the air and said, hey, all power's gone. Every flight out of Lisbon is canceled. I don't know if I'm going to get out tomorrow. And so I was texting him. He wasn't getting back to me. And then he goes, I finally just got like everything restored. This would have been about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he goes, I still don't know if I can get out. And he texted me later that night and said, the Lisbon airport had just opened up. They were trying to get everybody who was stranded out of there, and everything was supposed to be running on time. So I woke up this morning about 4 a.m. He texted me and said, hey, I'm at the gate. I'm getting on. But he doesn't arrive until 10:30 tonight. So
what?
I know. Well, he left Portugal. That's about right.
No, it's not.
Depending on what your layovers are.
Well, okay. He's got to have a hell of a long layover.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know where he's laying over at. Probably London, and then he's got to make a stop in the United States. And sometimes, you don't get a pick. And he's like me. He picks the cheapest ticket. If I have to spend like 5 hours in Atlanta, I'll do it to save $300 just because what I am.
I got so lucky when I flew back because I had like a 6-hour layover planned in Atlanta. And when we landed, we were walking to and I went past a Delta flight that was to Des Moines. And Tim, one of our friends, was like, hey, you should just go up and ask if you can get on that flight. And I was like, there's no way. It leaves in like 15 minutes. I went up. I'm like, hey, I fly to Des Moines in 6 hours. They're like, you want to hop on? Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I'm going to get home earlier. So, the original plan was to pick him up at like 10:30 and then drive him out to Minden and so he could stay in the house. And I texted him last night. I said, dude, can you just spend the night at my house so I don't have to drive 45 minutes one way, 45 minutes back? And the last thing you want to do is get to a house where your mother just died and have to spend, it's already dark.
And everybody, you get dropped off.
Yeah, I get dropped. I drop you off. Nobody knows that you're going to be staying there yet. So, all the neighbors are going to be like, who's in the house? Who's in the house? Last thing I want is the Potawatomi County Sheriff showing up at your door going, hey, what are you doing in this home? So I said, why don't you just spend the night at the house, make my life easier because it's all about me. It is all about me. And I would prefer that you just, that way I could be in bed by 11:30 instead of like 12:30 or 1. So that's the plan, is to pick him up tonight at 10:30. He'll be exhausted, which will be fine. He'll fall asleep just fine. But at least he got out of there, and we can start getting on to some business when he gets here. Hey, I got a question for you. It was a beautiful day yesterday, was it? I mean, it was an beautiful day. So I'm sitting here with my wife last night, and I said, hey, let's take Arlo to the dog park because I'm doing some yard work. I'm putting in a retaining wall. I've ripped out all my fences because I'm going to put a new fence in. And so the dog really doesn't have much room to do anything. We could put him on a leash, but it's a 15-foot leash. He doesn't get to do much. So I go, let's take him down to the dog park. Now, this has happened before, but I need to know the etiquette here. So my wife decides to go to the dog park dressed up, right? I mean, she was wearing her work clothes. She's a teacher. So she had this beautiful pink top on and these wonderful white pants. What is it about women that wear white pants? You're like, damn. I mean, it's just, damn, you look fine. You look fine. I am weird that way, but I'm like, damn, you look fine.
White pants does it for you?
Yeah, it does. It does. You'd be surprised what does it for me, right? We could do a whole show
for every
on
guy.
For
every guy. I shouldn't be one to talk.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their, oh, wow, yeah. At least I'm saying it about my own wife, right? I mean, that's
true.
Yes. So we're just sitting there, and there's not too many dogs there, but in comes a pit bull. In comes a pit bull. Short, little, stocky pit bull. Now, I don't usually have a problem with pit bulls at the dog park because if you're bringing your dog to the dog park, you normally, they're well behaved. And this dog seemed well behaved, but he comes running over, just lifts up the leg and just pisses all over Anjanette's white pants.
What?
Yes. And I'm like, she's like, the dog just pissed on me. And then it just ran away. And I go, no, it didn't. I look at a big old yellow stain on her white pants. She goes, let's go. Well, so we only got to spend like 15, 20 minutes at the dog park. Because she's like, I'm not going to sit here. I'm soaked.
Yeah.
This dog just urinated on me. My question is, do you confront said owner and say, or do you walk into a dog park with like, owner beware, dogs can pee on you?
I mean, yes and yes. It's not their owner's fault. I mean, the owner didn't direct the dog to come over to pee on you, right? Yeah, I don't think it's right to necessarily blame the owner. I think there is a little bit of, hey, beware. There's dogs running around.
But when you're sitting there,
crappy.
You don't expect one just to, I mean, it's like an acre dog park. I'm like, of all the places to pee, you pick my wife's leg.
Wild.
You could have peed anywhere.
Well, better than how I thought the pit bull walked into a dog park story was going to go.
Well, yeah. Now, I wonder if it's like a fear thing with the dog or just marking his territory type thing. I don't know.
Listen, I love dogs. I do not understand having these real and I know I'm going to start a conversation already. These aggressive breeds. Oh, it's aggressive dog owners. It's not aggressive breeds. Okay. All right. If you have to have a dog that, if it decides to, could kill everyone around you. That's why I love people are like, my German Shepherd's so smart. My German Shepherd's so smart. German Shepherds are really good dogs until they're not. So they're gnawing on your kid's peck. Seen it. Oh, but it's a good dog. It just had a moment where it turned into an animal and decided to use its fangs.
By the way, and all dogs are capable of that.
Not,
right?
no, they're not. No, they're not.
You don't think so?
No, they're not.
I mean, I look at Arlo. He's huge. He's 115 pounds.
Right.
There's not a to me.
Does Arlo have the temperament to be able to do what we're talking about? To do what a pit bull bull does.
No.
Could Arlo grab onto another animal and shake it to death?
If he wanted to, he could, but it's
no, he
not
wouldn't.
in his nature.
He wouldn't. Just like whatever.
Yeah,
I have friends that have pit bulls, and they are great dogs, really, really great dogs.
But you're always a little nervous around them, aren't you? I am.
I'm nervous around pit bulls I don't know. Does that make more sense? Yeah. If I'm mowing the lawn and a guy turns the corner and he's walking a pit bull, dude, I shut the mower off and stand guard, basically, like watch them. Yeah, I don't know this dog.
Yeah, when I took Arlo for a walk about a month ago, and a dude was out on his front porch, and he didn't have his pit bull on a leash, and it ran across. I mean, it came over ready to attack Arlo, and I'm like, dude, you need to get your dog on a leash because it was aggressive. He's like, sorry, man, he doesn't normally do that. Well, sure, okay, he just did it. That's why you have your dog on a leash or a chain, because they're not supposed to run willy-nilly in the neighborhood. I don't let Arlo out just without putting him on a chain or a leash, because he would just run away. He would just be like, all right, my natural tendency is to roam. I'm going to go roam the neighborhood.
I think that's another thing that should be said about pets. If your pet would run away if it could, you have a prisoner. You don't. If your dog wants to get away from your house.
Well, I mean, I think you're
Arlo
right.
would want to run and then come back. That's what Kirby has done. That I've had dogs that do that. I don't mean it that way. I just mean it's just. Anyway.
I ever tell you my dad's parrot story? This is back when I talked to my old man. So for the longest time, he wanted a parrot. All right. So
I just had real quick. I had an Anthony Jeselnik joke go through my head that you could use. You could say, my dad had a parrot once. I hated that asshole, but the bird was cool.
That's a very good Anthony Jeselnik joke that I could use. This is back when I was younger. My dad got a parrot to be in his office. Now, my dad smoked 2 packs a day. So this bird sat in the office in a cage.
Smoked 2 packs a day.
And he smoked 2 packs a day. So I meant the bird was smoking 2 packs a day. Well, I think he paid a couple $1,000s for this parrot. It was not parrots aren't cheap. And so it was getting bigger and bigger. And so what he would do is he would let the bird out of its cage in the office, and the bird was nice. Then he'd open the door to the big shop where the trucks were, and the bird would fly around but come back to the cage, and sit there in a smoke-filled office.
Yeah, it needed its nicotine fix.
After about 3 years, you build a trust factor with the bird, right? It's like, okay, oh, the bird loves me. The bird, the bird's his only companion. Nobody else in the family likes my father, so the only companion that he has is this bird. Well, he gets a little trusting, opens the big door for the semis to go in and out. Bird sees its opportunity, flies away.
That bird saw fresh air is what that bird saw.
Yeah, he's like, I could breathe fresh air. And my dad just could not believe that the bird didn't come back. I go, what'd you expect? Its natural tendency is to fly, and not in a 100 by 50 foot shop. So
that's fantastic. That's a fantastic story, because I don't know how it was a parrot or a parakeet.
No, it was a parrot. It was
they're big
parrot, big old parrot.
How do they do in the wild?
Well, I don't know, because he probably got out and went, oh, this isn't my natural habitat. I don't know what to do in an Iowa cornfield.
He landed. He's like, rock, can I bum a smoke? Rock.
Lucky strike.
Lucky strike.
Non-filter. Speaking of cigarettes, I'm not a smoker. You're not a smoker. But we were at Central City Liquors the other day. And I mean, I haven't smoked in I used to smoke. It's been 18, 20 years since I smoked. And I wouldn't say that I was a regular smoker. I was an at-work smoker. I know that's
That's a weird thing to say now, isn't it?
It is a weird thing because when I was doing television, it was my writer's block. I would sit there and go outside and, have a Marlboro Light. But I haven't smoked since Greta was born. She's 18. But I was shocked, absolutely shocked when we were at Central City Liquors the other day. And you were standing there with me when I looked behind the counter and I go, a pack of cigarettes is $10? And Brian Duax right away goes, oh, and we're the cheapest in town. He's like, you can't buy cigarettes anywhere that's cheaper than that. I'm like, $10 a pack? Wow. And if you look in the commercials that air, I think that they're like $4.79.
Yeah, dude. That's what when you pointed that out, I was like, dude, think about our commercials, which weren't shot that long ago. I mean, they were, they were shot a while back, but not decades. I haven't bought any tobacco in a long time, so I don't know. Is chew is chew expensive as well? Last couple times I've bought chew, it was to take to my fishing guide up in Canada as a tip. So I don't even know like a tin of Zyn cost right around $5.50. Okay. And that's pure profit. All you're doing is putting nicotine on salt and putting it in a biodegradable bag. I mean, you're talking like 10,000% return on that. I mean, it's crazy expensive. I think chew's even more. I don't really know anybody who chews anymore. Yeah.
I try to get you to do a Zyn every now and then, but you're like, no.
I did the nicotine. I don't know. It makes me feel weird.
I gave one of those to my buddy Pat, and it lasted like 5 minutes. He's like, oh,
yeah. That's how I am. I was the same way as Pat.
Noah says good chew is $7.50 a tin. The less expensive chew is $4.90 a tin.
I don't even know what's good chew.
Well, I suppose Copenhagen, little skull.
Oh, I thought it was a brand.
Yeah, I'll have a tin of good chew. I'll have some good chew.
I thought it was a brand. And Noah, maybe you should trademark that. You're on to something like vitamin water. You're on to something. Good chew.
Good chew. Can I have a tin of bad chew? You got the good chew and you got the bad chew. Did you ever do like the Red Man or the Beach Nut?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I remember when I was doing overnight DJ stuff, you know what I mean? I'd drive down to Moravia, Iowa, and do a high school homecoming. And at 1 a.m, I have to drive back to Des Moines. And that was when I discovered Red Man.
Did you wrap it in bubble gum or did you?
No, I just threw a chunk in and rode the lightning, baby.
Were you a swallower or a spitter?
No, a spitter. In fact, even with like those little tiny mint flavored pouches that I used to chew, I'd spit with those.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Hey, yesterday before we got off the air, you were talking about you wanted to bring up Ryan Reynolds and the Wrexham soccer team.
And Rob McElhaney, the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. A couple years ago, I think most people know, they bought a professional soccer team.
And it was a bad soccer team, right? I mean, it was like bottom of the barrel, right?
It was a bad team. Let's leave it at that. They were not. They had a decent history. They had an old stadium, but they were several leagues down. And that was, I think they were in the 5th. Let me do the math here. They would have been in the 5th league down. 6th league down, Travis, because they now have 4 years in a row. They just won over the weekend, and now for the 4th straight year, they've earned a promotion. So the year that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney took it over, they went from that 6th league to the 5th league. Then they went from the 5th league to the 4th league. Then from the 4th to the 3rd. And over the weekend, they finished in 2nd place in the league they were in, and they moved up to what is now called the Champions League, which is essentially like the league below the Premier League. So imagine, we always kind of make references back to like if baseball teams were this way. If the iCubs won the AAA championship, they would go to the major leagues, play the Yankees next year. Well, that's what Wrexham has done. Wrexham has gone from being a rookie league team to being on the verge of being in the Premier League. Now they're in the Championship League. Thank you, Tyler. Not Champions League. Champions League is a different thing where the champions of each league play each other. That's kind of cool too. But the Championship League is like their second tier.
Now, do they ever get to the point where, because they were like a low, and I know they had a historic stadium, but if they get to the Premier League, is their stadium like too small?
That's a good question, Trav. That's a good question because smaller teams have done that before. Small teams have made their way into the Premier League for a cup of coffee. They get one season in the Premier League. I don't know what they do in those situations, man. I don't know if they play in listen, England's not big.
No, it's not.
It's not big. So you could find that Tyler says nope, they'll play in that old stadium, in that old Wrexham stadium that we've seen in. If you've ever seen the Netflix show, it really is kind of fun. It's the behind the scenes look of them running this club.
They bought that club for like $2 million. And at the time you're probably thinking, "Oh my God, how do we turn around a bad soccer club? We just spent $2 million, and I don't care how much money you have. You spend $2 million on something, you want a little bit return on investment."
Yeah.
And the brilliant idea was to do the Netflix show because that gained a lot of interest in it. And it probably also wants players to say, all right, let's go play for these two movie stars. They got a little money.
The money.
It.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's it. It's not play for the movie stars. Maybe that's a tiny part of it. Maybe there's a part of it that's like, man, I get to be on Netflix. I don't know. Maybe that's a selling point. Maybe that's a detractor. The money is the thing. That's what they've been able to inject into it.
But you got to wonder if you go, okay, we bought this for $2 million. We've gone up 5 leagues already. Is now the time to sell because it's probably worth 10, 15, $20 million now?
Oh, maybe I don't even know, Trav. That's a great question. That'd be a great question. What's the valuation of Wrexham? What's the return on that investment? But I don't necessarily think that now would be the time to sell.
Yeah, because if you get to the Premier League,
that's what their goal was. Their goal was, maybe we can take this thing and take it to the top. They're not to the top yet. They're close.
Now, this is what's unique about soccer in Europe is that you can get promoted or you can get, do they call it relegation?
Relegated. Yep.
So, or you can get relegated. A lot of people have said that when you look at the state of college football in the United States, this might not be a bad idea to have a promotion/relegation process to where if you're not performing at your conference level or whatever, that, you can move up and down. Now, we still have conference structures in place, so it would be hard to do that. But if you were to say, hey, here's 60-some teams, and if you're a bottom feeder, you got to earn your keep because the whole thing is about right. I mean, let's just use Northwestern, Vanderbilt, all these schools as an example. Going, if you can't maintain that level, just because you were part of the Big Ten or the SEC, just by the grace of God from 100 years ago, should you continue to reap the benefits? Do you think college football could do a delegation or a relegation
promotion? Man, Travis, so much of college sports is still tied up with that tradition, history. You're familiar with these teams. We've seen it in our own states, man. When you stop playing the teams that you're familiar with and you start bringing in new competition, it's different. It's watered down in some way. It takes a while to build back up that. I don't even know. I don't want that hate thing, that rivalry stuff that gets our blood going. Could you do that in college sports? I think it would. I don't know. That's a really good question. Yes, you probably could. They probably could set up a system like that. But you're already in a little bit of a you're already in a little bit of a good old boys club where these conferences are going to look out for each other.
Yes, they are.
So they're not going to want the Ohio States of the world are going to look out for the Northwesterns of the world, theoretically. And maybe I should stop myself there because that's not what happened during conference realignment. The big guys didn't look out for the little guys under their own tent.
Yeah, Texas and Oklahoma didn't care about Iowa State, Kansas,
Nope.
and Oklahoma State when they bolted for the SEC. They thought about themselves.
Nope. And you could look at that as promotion. They looked at that and said, "Oh, we get to get out of here now and go play." I don't know, man. I don't know. Moving that around every year, that'd be. I wonder what impact that would have on college sports.
That's yeah, and I don't know if you could do it all of college sports as much as you just said. We're going to do this in college football because that's where the money is. That's where the TV is. That might add a little different excitement. It's been tossed around, but it works well in the soccer world because they've been doing it forever. I mean, that's been the process forever. So you know that there's always a possibility. Not everything that Europe does is cool, but this is one of them where the little guy has a chance to play itself into the big leagues, which we like a rags to riches story. So not only do you have the Ryan Reynolds story here, you've got the Netflix thing, but everybody loves a rags to riches story, which Wrexham is right now, a rags to riches story. 515-517-2303 if you want to participate in the show. Coming up sometime today, keep listening. We have a pair of Bacon Fest tickets to give away. Yes, Bacon Fest coming up this weekend at the Iowa State Fairgrounds at JR South Fork Ranch. It is the Bacon Boat, a yacht rock-themed Bacon Fest where you can get as much bacon as you want, where you can listen to live yacht rock music. There's going to be a great giveaway, a Caribbean cruise with airfare and $500 spending cash, courtesy of Community Choice Credit Union. And you can buy tickets at BlueRibbonBaconFestival.com. They start as low as $29, or you can win them right here on the Rush Radio Show. You're going to be at Bacon Fest, right? You're going down for a little bit?
Yes, I am. Be down there for a little while, giving away some Shane Gillis tickets, getting people signed up to go see Shane Gillis at Wells Fargo Arena.
That's so cool. And about an hour from now, Iowa basketball coach Ben McCollum is scheduled to join the show. Of course, he's been really busy since leaving Drake. He's been, working the transfer portal left and right. He's driving a Willis Automotive car, which is super cool.
Did you see that? Did you see that thing he's driving?
Yeah, it's nice. It's really, really nice. Really nice. I wonder if he has to drive it back to Des Moines for services. Hey, I need an oil change.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Willis probably trade something with him over there.
Yeah, probably.
I'm headed to Willis today for an oil change, ironically. Maybe I'll see Coach McCollum.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, we just talked to you like 45 minutes ago. What are you doing? Tire rotation. To get my tires rotated. Been putting out a lot of miles, with the transfer portal. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, got me falling hard for you. It's you, I felt this way before, you know it's true. It's you, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how Bats and Bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Brendan Santone here with Willis Cadillac. Well, we're already off to a jumping start. Have quite a few vehicles to select from. XT5, 4, and 6 are all still running special APR up to 84 months, along with rebates as well. Escalades, as you can see, we are getting a few here and there that are available. Stop out in person in Clive to visit us and see one of our 50 cars in stock, or at williscadillac.com.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make. Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig, Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Just click that Listen Live link, and you can pick up the show in the middle of it. Wherever it's at, it just runs continuously all day long. Or you can check out the podcast version of the show right there on therushradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We're here till 8 o'clock today. Mentioned that Ben McCollum, the Iowa basketball coach, going to be joining us right around 7:30, so get ready for that. It's been a while since we caught up with Coach. Matter of fact, it was right before Drake went to the NCAA tournament, so a lot has happened in the last month. You know, it's just I'm gonna ask him how many times he's actually just slept in his office. You know, and because it's just like, because it's really from the moment you take the job, it's like, oh, I got to fill a roster.
Not going to hit the ground running.
Yes. No time to sleep.
It'll be a fun conversation with him. You know, I'm interested. Got a few fun things to ask him about, or interesting things. Probably not fun for him.
Oh, I think coaches thrive off this stuff. I think this is what they find.
Yeah, I think that we can ask him this too. I think coaches love the coaching. Listen, here's the fact, Travis, and Ben McCollum is a younger guy in 2025 for the coaching world. You'd have to be able to enjoy both, because the guys that were standing around going, man, I just want to coach basketball. That's Fran McCaffrey.
Yeah, they're getting out, or they're taking jobs to where they just want to coach.
Yeah.
Of course, new things we're seeing in college football and college basketball is the advent of the general manager. And a lot of those general managers will run basically point of payment for players. Let's just call it what it is. They're going to go out there and kind of be that negotiator, maybe, should we say, for the team, the collective, or however this shakes out with a house settlement. Yesterday, Ross, Shaquille O'Neal is going to be the assistant general manager for Sacramento State. It is a non-paid volunteer position. His son transferred from a school in Florida to Sacramento State. Now, Sacramento State's got a little bit of money. I believe they're building a new football stadium. They're doing some other things, have a pretty good NIL collective for Sacramento State. But we're seeing this more and more, and I wonder if it's a runaround. I don't want to say an NCAA rule, but when you have Shaq, and then you have Steph Curry, who's the assistant GM for Davidson. You have Trae Young, who has the same title for Oklahoma. Is this a way to use star power as a recruiter. You give them a title, you give them responsibility. Oh, now you can interact as an assistant GM. Now you can make phone calls on our behalf.
I mean, Travis, the only thing I questioned that you just said there is when you said that you give them some responsibility. What responsibility do you think Shaq is going to have as the assistant GM, as a volunteer assistant GM? What duties do you think Steph Curry has with the Davidson program during his NBA playoffs?
Probably nothing except, hey, we need you to make a phone call to a potential recruit to try to
I
close
think
the
you had
deal.
it. I think you had it right at nothing. I don't think Davidson's calling him at any point during the NBA season and saying, "Hey, you know that volunteer position? Okay, here's what we need you to do. We're having a hard time closing this deal. But if you're the special sauce, if you could just call this guy and say, hey, man, cut the check, that'd help us out a lot." I don't know, Trav. I really do wonder what these... Yes, the answer to your question is yes. Is this all about recruiting? And are they figuring out some way, some loophole to be able to access this inventory of people? How do we get Shaq's network here at Sacramento State? I got an idea. Let's throw a position at him and give his son a scholarship and, fake some responsibility to him.
Do you think a player like Shaq, like Steph Curry, like Trae Young calling you is a deal closer? Because I would think the deal closer is, how much money are you paying me?
Yeah, Travis, I do think that if you are in that world of an athlete that's going to be playing at a Sacramento State or like universities, is that the type of thing that would put you over the top? Yeah, I think that USC benefited from having Will Ferrell and Snoop Dogg and all those famous guys hanging around at practice. And when a guy shows up, when a recruit shows up and they see Shaq once a year, you know what I mean? Again, if you can get Steph Curry to show up at a recruiting visit, now that's worth the money, right? Whatever you pay to get him to be a part of this and put his name on all the literature and tell people he's the assistant GM and all that. You don't have to cut him any checks. But, man, if the guy can show up every now and again and help you seal the deal, and I do think that helps.
Who would be Iowa's assistant GM?
That's a great question. B.J. Armstrong?
Well, he's an agent, so there might be a conflict of interest there.
Okay. Who's the most well-known? Here's probably the way to answer that question, because we're talking about Shaq and Steph Curry. Who's the most well-known Iowa basketball alum?
To this generation. I think you have to clarify that.
Charlie nailed it. It's Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
It's Caitlin Clark. Now, let's dial it. Let's core down on this. Who's the Iowa basketball player? I think Luka Garza is a good one, Tyler. Luka Garza is a good one. For Iowa State, it's probably George Niang or Tyrese Halliburton, right?
Yeah. For today's generation, probably Halliburton more than George. We like George because he's personable. He has that
but yeah, good point. Step outside of Iowa. Who's going to show up on the caller ID that people are going to go, whoa, Tyrese Halliburton's calling us? I mean, and George would have a little bit of that impact. You're right. In Iowa, for us, it would be a little bit more. A kid in Florida, a 17-year-old kid in Florida or Texas, how do they recognize Iowa basketball?
That's a good question.
Luka Garza? But is Luka even a nationally known?
No.
No. I don't know. I don't know who you would have. You certainly don't. I mean, it's obvious. Most places don't have a star power like Shaquille O'Neal or Steph Curry. Most places don't have something like that. And again, Shaquille O'Neal, though, let's remember this. That's not like that's where he went to school. They're accessing this through his son. So that's something Iowa could do. You know what I mean?
The Murray twins are being thrown out there.
Be up there. Yeah. That's again, but
I think it shows you. I mean, it shows you kind of where the talent level was. They never had a superstar, right? Under Fran McCaffrey.
No, dude. You could go back. I mean, a superstar.
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is an all-star. He is a superstar.
Yeah. No, your best way, if you want to get a name like that, a Shaquille O'Neal, a Steph Curry, you got to go the Sacramento State route, and that is buy your access to that network through the kid.
Caitlin, we want you to be the assistant GM, volunteer position for not just Iowa women's basketball, but Iowa men's basketball as well.
For Iowa athletics.
If we need you to make a phone call, could you do that on the behalf of the University of Iowa?
Caitlin Clark, can you make a field hockey recruiting call for us?
We've got a gymnastics recruit that we're going after. Here's a phone call. It's not a bad idea. Makes a lot of sense. Speaking of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, they are going to be playing at Iowa City this weekend. Ross, for the first time ever, the WNBA preseason, every single preseason game is going to be either on the air or streamed. This is a big deal because before this year, the only other preseason game in the WNBA to be on TV was back in 2019. So you never had preseason games on the air. Back in 2019, you had the New York Liberty take on the Chinese national team. Now, in 2025, every preseason game is either going to be televised, including the Iowa versus the Brazilian national team on ESPN on Sunday at 3 o'clock. And they're doing it a unique way. They're going to, I think it's a good way to reach new audiences. And that is Caitlin Clark's coming to Iowa City to play. The Chicago Sky are going to they're going to LSU to play. Angel Reese, of course, in LSU. The Las Vegas Aces are going to Notre Dame. And then you have Sabrina Ionescu is going to go play a game at Oregon. So you're tapping into these fan bases where the players were extremely popular in college, going there, selling massive amounts of tickets, and actually growing the fan. I think the fan base is growing for the WNBA anyway, but this is a unique and pretty smart. And the NBA's done it. We've seen, teams come here and play where former players would come on their home court. I like the idea of just continue to grow the fan base this way.
The game's growing. You've got more. You have more opportunities for streaming and stuff like that than in 2019 even. Man, in these 6 years, you've got a lot more opportunities for these streaming things, and the Caitlin Clark effect continues to have ripple effects. That's what we're seeing here. I mean, all the things you said are true. It's good for the game. It's great. The popularity of the game continues to grow. I believe the WNBA continues to get more and more traction. I didn't watch preseason baseball. I would love the Caitlin Clark thing with the Brazil national team. That's going to be a fun event. I wish I could be over there for that. That'd be a really neat event to be at. The basketball is going to be secondary.
100% secondary. It is go watch Caitlin Clark, and everything else that happens. Oh, you're going to watch Caitlin Clark, and a basketball game is going to be played.
Yeah, right. So this is cool. This is good for the WNBA, but I think it's probably more indicative of the fact that you've got a bunch of streaming services that are out there that are trying to fill content. People are seeing now that you've got this summer product that might actually draw some eyeballs. Let's grab onto that. Let's build that. Let's push the momentum of this thing.
And the truth is, in today's day and age, there's really no reason that sporting events of all type should not be streamed in one way or another, right? I mean, the capability is that. If you
dude,
want,
your
Little League games are probably streamed.
You can see axe throwing. You can see guys throwing bag toss. All of it gets streamed. Why not?
because the capability is out there. It's just the level of production you want to put behind it, and you could put a camera up, say go live, and you're streaming. Let's use us as an example. We discovered we don't need radio airwaves to do our radio show. We have a streaming service and a couple different ones, and it's just the show hasn't changed in 15 years, and it's the same show. It's no different. But yeah, so those games going to be all over the place, and of course using college campuses to grow the game. I'll be honest. I take it are you gonna watch the Iowa Brazilian national team on TV?
To be honest, probably not. I got a busy night that night. It's gonna be a busy day.
Yeah,
to sit down. I'm sure my dad will be watching it, and if at some point if I'm near his house, I can pop in and watch it for a few minutes. But I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it.
I do fall into the Caitlin Clark trap, and the fact that I follow the Indiana Fever on most of the social medias, so they're really good at putting out content every day of showing Caitlin Clark making passes, making baskets, and I fall into let's see how year number 2 is going to be. I won't follow the rest of the teams. I follow Caitlin Clark, and that is the Caitlin Clark effect. You had some interesting stories about driving a car. And how old were you when you first drove your car?
Oh, I know where you're going here. I forgot about this. Man, the first time I remember driving a car, Travis, I'd almost have to be like a teenager. You know what I mean? 13, 14 years old. Now, before that, Grandpa would put you on the tractor, or I rode snowmobiles and things like that. But behind the wheel of a car on a city road, 14, 15 years old, driving my dad's car.
I remember being like 7 or 8.
Wow.
Hold on, not getting to push the gas pedal, but back when we didn't care about seatbelts and stuff like that, I would sit on my brother's lap or my dad's lap, and they would let me steer. So it'd be okay, and we'd be going down the road 55 miles an hour, and I'd be steering. But
they've got their hands right there.
They've got their hands right there. That's the first time. But I think what that did is it made me more confident when I was able to drive when I was 14 years old to get a learner's permit. I felt okay. I can get behind the wheel. Now, getting behind the wheel is still a big responsibility. And back in those days, you still needed a key to start a car. I mean, you had to put it in the ignition. You had to turn it. Maybe
sometimes
give it a little gas.
Yeah, exactly. Feather the gas pedal a little bit.
Give that thing, pump that thing, shoot some gas into the carburetor to get that thing to start.
Yeah.
Well, today, all you need to do is push a button. That's right. I mean, all you do literally push a button.
So before we get to the details of this story, let's talk about a fictional. How old in the movie Talladega Nights? How old do you think Ricky Bobby was at the beginning of that movie when he took the mom's car? Remember, he steals. Mom goes inside the convenience store. She says something like, I'm just going to go inside this bathroom and cry for a while. I'll be back out. You know what everybody in town's saying? They're saying, I got a little crazy boy because all he can say is, I want to go fast. And then Ricky Bobby gets in the car and takes off in his mom's car, right?
How old was he?
How old do you think he was when that happened?
I'm going to say he was 10. I'm going to say he was 10.
That's probably about right, I would say.
Yeah.
Dateline Ogden, Utah.
Dun-dun-dun.
Some in South Ogden are shocked after a 7-year-old boy. 7-year-old boy with his little sister in tow.
Hold on. Little sister.
5-year-old little sister, 7-year-old little boy. Okay. There's a lot of details to unpack on this. All right. Mom apparently went in to go get her hair did and decided it'd be a good idea to leave the 7-year-old and the 5-year-old in the car.
Kids, you just stay here. Mommy's going to get a perm.
Mommy's just going to go into that bathroom and cry for a little bit. And the 7-year-old gets the car started. The 7-year-old gets the car in gear. And the 7-year-old gets the car 10 miles down the road through several small towns in Utah. They're not sure how the kid actually could. They said the kid couldn't see over the dashboard and hit the pedals at the same time. 7 years old, 10 miles, was driving erratically, but didn't hit anything. The only thing it ever hit was 10 miles down the road. It finally hit a parking station thing, and that stopped the car. So several questions here. Number one, what the hell was mom doing?
He's getting a perm.
Dude, the kid wasn't driving 60 miles an hour. He was going through several small towns. I mean, it maybe was a half hour, maybe more. Approximately 8 a.m. on Sunday, officers with the Ogden Police Department got a call about a reckless driver. The caller said the car wasn't staying in its lane and that the driver appeared to be really young. 7.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This is where my mind goes.
Fire away.
Mom leaves kids in car. Mom leaves keys in car. You name me a hair shop that's open at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Was mom really getting her hair done?
Oh, you're brilliant. Oh, you're brilliant. And the call came in at 8, which means the car would have had to pull it out of the hair salon by 7:30.
Yeah.
This
Mommy's
is a really
visiting a friend at 7:30. I'm just making an assumption here.
That's a good question. They found the car about 3 miles from where the initial phone call came in. It had hit a parking strip and was disabled.
Can you imagine the cops walking up with a license and registration, please?
Hi, little buddy.
Out on a joyride today? Mom's getting her hair done. Is that code for something? It might be. Mommy's got to go get her hair done.
Leave the kids in the car with the keys. And it's not, Mike said she probably stopped at a gas station to get some beer. No, this is a half hour. This is at least a half hour.
And it's Utah. You're not buying beer at a gas station at 8 a.m.
Good point again, also, Travis.
Just making some assumptions about Utah and Mormons, but I think finding alcohol anywhere in Utah is a difficult thing to do. Do you ever leave your kids in the car by themselves?
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes when like you're...
But if you know it's like you can keep an eye on the car. I mean, I've never left my kids in the car for longer than like 2 minutes. I'm not a half hour guy.
No way. I mean, I would say the longest is like if I'm going to go show a house and Audrey is with me and I can't find somebody to watch her or Eli's got to practice or something. Sometimes Audrey's like, hey, I want to go inside the house and check it out with you. And, I'm going to sell this house with you. But a lot of times she's like, can I just sit in the car and watch your phone? So I go in and unlock the door and then I take my phone back to Audrey and she sits there and watches Hulu or something. So that would be, but a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old with the keys for that long, I didn't even put together the math of the timing of it and the mom's story.
Yeah, I'm not believing mom here. The mom did not get charged with anything, I don't believe, and the kids did not get charged, right?
No, kids did not get charged with anything. Okay. I got one more for you. I'll try to get through this because I know we're going to run out of time here. Okay, this is another one about leaving your car unlocked, but a different story. Okay? For this one, we got to go to St. Louis.
Ooh, East St. Louis or just regular St. Louis?
Dude, wait till you hear this one. A man is facing multiple charges after police said he stole multiple items, including a shotgun, a grenade launcher, and ammunition from the St. Louis Police Department.
No.
Yes. Listen to what this dude did. According to the charges, 25-year-old Alexander Johnston was arrested in Frederickstown, Missouri, over 6 charges. According to the charges, he was seen running under the parking gate in the St. Louis Police Department's parking garage. Okay? Video captures this guy going under the gate into the garage where all the cop cars are kept. Then cameras catch him going to multiple cop cars and pulling on the door handles. Guess what he finds, Travis?
A grenade launcher?
He finds a car that's unlocked and starts to load it up. He loaded up 2 duffel bags with a Remington shotgun, a starter pistol, ammunition, and an item described in charging documents as a grenade launcher.
Damn, St. Louis police are loading up. That's just one car.
A police spokesman said the device is a Penn Arms 6-cylinder pump-action 40-millimeter multi-launcher, which the department uses for, quote, less lethal uses that like bean bags and ball pellets.
Or potatoes.
And I guess why does a cop have a starter pistol?
I guess I'm a gun idiot. What's a starter pistol?
Isn't a starter pistol the thing they use in track and field?
Oh.
I mean, a starter pistol is not a beginner gun, is it?
I always just thought it was a regular pistol that had blanks in it, right? So, like when the starter would be at the Drake relays,
I don't know.
You're just firing blanks.
I can't figure a lot of this out. Dude decides that the best place to break in and steal stuff is the police station and does it?
You know how he rationalized it? There's no way they're thinking about this. This is the perfect crime. Nobody's ever going to suspect me of going into the police
And the cop's thinking the same thing. The cop gets out of his car and he's like, do I lock it? No, I'm in the police station. I'm in the police garage. Who's going to break into the police garage and try this door? Oh, Mr. Johnston. He figured it out. He's been charged with first-degree burglary, stealing a firearm explosive weapon, stealing a Class A misdemeanor, stealing of $750 or more, unlawful possession of a firearm. I feel like these are all the same crime.
It's just a different way to charge it, so we can get more jail time for you. You know, we need to get Paul Parizek on to say, hey, but they would never admit it, right? They would never go, yeah, we got broken into.
Do I have enough time to tell you another 2-minute mind blower that happened to me yesterday? Oh my God. Oh my God. I should have called you. So twice in the last week, this weird thing has happened to me on the freeway. And not that this isn't weird. This happens to everybody, but I want to walk through this with folks, okay? And you tell me how you would have handled it, and I'd love to hear from listeners as well. You're driving down the freeway. There's 4 lanes going your direction, and all of a sudden you look in your rearview mirror and you see an ambulance with its lights on coming up behind you, okay? You're going 65 miles an hour, cruising down the freeway. Ambulance is coming up behind you, all right?
Now, you're on the freeway. I would, if it was a side street, I would come to a complete stop and let the ambulance go by. If it's on the freeway, I get over to the far right-hand lane because I believe 235 is 3 or 4 lanes, right?
Yes,
so I would get
nailing
over
it.
to I would get over to the right side of the freeway. I wouldn't stop.
Yes.
But I would keep going, but give the ambulance room.
The first time I was going through, the ambulance started to move to the right lane to get off, and so I did the opposite. I got out of its way, moved back to the left so that it could get into the right lane. But Travis, about 20% of the people pulled over, stopped on the freeway. They were like diving to the shoulder of the road to pull over when they saw these lights coming up behind them. And I'm not a few. A big portion of the driving population was pulling over on the freeway. And in my mind, I'm like, this is dangerous.
I would agree with you.
More dangerous for you to dive to the side of the roads, stop, and then pull back onto the freeway, right? So I was going to put some silly post up about, hey, if you're on the freeway and a cop comes up behind you or an ambulance comes up behind you, you don't have to pull all the way over unless they're pulling you over. Get out of their way. Before I hit post, I thought, I better check this out. So I called our friend, Sergeant Paul Parizek. I'm like, hey, Sergeant Parizek, I'm doing the right thing here, right? And he says, yeah. He goes, Russ, it's funny that you'd say this because he goes, while we're talking about it, I'm just going to look up the actual statute because I know what the law is. So I'll pull it up and read it to you. He goes, it's funny because we've actually had driver's instructors that have taught kids that they're supposed to pull over and stop on the freeway. And we have to go and tell these guys, quit telling kids to do this. While we're on the phone, Travis, Sergeant Prezick goes, wait a minute. The law does say you're supposed to pull over. He's like, no way. No way. He's like, that, because I'm like, that's more dangerous. He goes, that is more dangerous. He goes, it's not the pulling over, it's the getting back on, because now you'd have everybody hauling ass to get back up to 65 miles an hour behind you.
Yeah, because everybody's behind you still going regular speed.
Right. And now you're going to try to merge back on from zero. That's going to be the dangerous part. Dude, the state law says you're supposed to pull over on the interstate or freeway if that's dangerous.
That's a lot more dangerous than
so I will tell you, it was comforting to me that even Sergeant Prezick, who knows the law better than anybody I've ever met, was like, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And then when he looked it up, he's like, oh, wait a minute. This does not read the way that I thought it read.
Hell, the law book's a lot like a playbook in football, right? I mean, you think I'm supposed to go to the right. No, you were supposed to go to the left.
Well, imagine getting pulled over. Like, an ambulance is coming up. You get over. You think you're doing the right thing. You're down to 55 miles an hour in the right lane. Ambulance goes past you, and then all of a sudden you've got a state trooper behind you. Like, oh, what am I getting pulled over for? For not pulling over.
But I was keeping everybody safe, officer.
I was trying to do the right thing. Blew my mind. That was so anyway. Sorry to waste 5 minutes of your time there, but that was my thing of like, no way.
And it's the epiphany where you think you're right and you turn out you're wrong, and there's nothing that makes you feel worse. Like, oh man, I was wrong. I thought I was doing the right thing. 515-517-2303. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how Bats and Bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Hey everybody, this is Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity. A couple of great things going on this month. We got tons of inventory, and on top of that, right now, we have 1.99 out to 60 months on the new QX60 and up to $2,500 in cash on here. Also this month, we are still doing the 2.9% up to 60 on new QX80s, the 3000 in Conquest. For more information, visit your favorite Infinity sales consultant on our showroom or online at willisinfinity.com.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
We've returned and we brought snacks, sarcasm, and absolutely no sense of shame. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Tuesday, the 29th of April. If you're listening on therushradio.com and the audio stream, thank you so much. If you have an Android phone, just go to the Play Store, look up the Rush with Travis and Ross. You can download our app and play it right from your app. If you're watching on YouTube, give this channel a subscription, give this video a like. You can start leaving your comments in the comment section. And, of course, you can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Put a couple videos up yesterday of our Frank Caliendo interview. If you missed the interview with Frank Caliendo, fun stuff. And the entire interview is by itself on YouTube, so you can check that out at the Rush Radio's YouTube channel. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. Ross, of course, Bacon Fest coming up this weekend. You're going to be down at Bacon Fest. Brooks asked me yesterday if I was going to go, and I have to be at a wedding in Ames, so I won't be able to attend Bacon Fest. I'm kind of bummed about it because I love Bacon Fest. But this is the 17th annual Bacon Fest, and it's one of the largest bacon celebrations. There's going to be bacon all over the place. There's going to be live music all over the place. There's going to be beer all over the place.
Fun. Every place you look, there, every turn, there will be fun.
You can get in for as low as $29 and go to BlueRibbonBaconFestival.com to buy your tickets, or you can win them right now. So we have a question for you. And if you know the answer to the question, you'll be able to pick up a pair of tickets. And the question is, this is the 17th annual Blue Ribbon Bacon Festival. Where was the first annual Blue Ribbon Bacon Festival?
And you've got to call in to win?
You got to call in to win.
I know the answer to this question. Brooks has talked about this many times. Can I give a hint?
Sure.
Another one of our guests has talked about this many times. Another one of our regular guests has mentioned this several times about where the first Bacon Fest happened. I mean, it all kind of started with Brooks being interviewed by, remember in the City View, they used to have this thing. It was like the around town section type of thing where they would say, they'd go talk to random people and they would ask them questions. What type of restaurant would you like to see in downtown Des Moines? And people would go, oh, there should be a Mediterranean restaurant. And one of these reporters found Brooks one day and said, hey, what should there be in Des Moines that would make this a more fun town? And Brooks said, we should have a bacon festival. And then heard his own advice and went, yeah, we should do a bacon festival.
Yeah. Or it might have been around a campfire smoking weed where they said, let's have a bacon festival. It could be a number of different stories. All right, 515-517-2303. Let's go to Jason. Jason, do you know where the first Blue Ribbon Bacon Festival was held?
Well, I believe it was at High Life Lounge in El Bait Shop.
Ding, 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 ding. You are a winner. Now,
Good job, Jason.
Can you go to the Blue Ribbon Bacon Festival?
Absolutely.
All right.
Good deal. Jason, have you been to one before?
I have not. I comment a lot on your guys' YouTube page, and I have not been there.
Well, you are in for a treat. Let me just tell you.
Is this Jason Bothman?
This is him.
Oh, Jason, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Glad you called in. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations, buddy.
I'm excited. One last hurrah before he moved to southern Louisiana.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, I have your phone number, Jason. And I forgot to call Scott yesterday, who was the winner. So I got to call Scott.
Unbelievable. This
I
guy.
know.
Unbelievable.
I
It's like
am
you have
so
other stuff happening in your life.
Yeah. Can you believe it? So, Jason, I'm going to be calling you later on. I just need to get your email address so we can email you those tickets and have fun Saturday at the Bacon Festival.
Sounds good, fellas. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
See you, Jason. Congratulations, buddy.
We'll see ya. Thank you. Yep.
So if you didn't win Bacon Festival tickets yesterday or today, no need to worry. We're going to be giving away Bacon Festival tickets again on tomorrow, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Scott, if you're listening, I apologize for not calling you yesterday. I will call you today. Get your email address so we can email you those Bacon Festival tickets. I got Brad here. Let's just no, he dropped.
Well, I said it probably we're calling to do that, so that's all right.
Yes. So yeah, so it's get ready for that. Rob Manfred, the Major League Baseball commissioner, a couple weeks ago had a private meeting with President Trump, and discussed in that meeting was immigration, because obviously you have a lot of foreign-born players who play in the national in Major League Baseball. Cuba, Venezuela, a lot of that. But also what came up was Pete Rose. And Pete Rose died last September. And President Trump has said he's going to give a full posthumous pardon to Pete Rose. And Rob Manfred came out yesterday and didn't talk much about it, but said he will be making a ruling in the near future on Pete Rose and whether or not to lift that lifetime ban, which would then make him eligible for the Hall of Fame. And I just look at this and go, this is like feel-good legislation, right? It's like the man's dead. It really doesn't mean as much if you were to lift the ban now. What does it really mean? It means nothing.
I wish this conversation would just go away. This is the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre conversation that never, ever, ever dies. And people just in my opinion, people have some ridiculous opinions about it. I think the answer is pretty obvious. Acknowledge the man's contribution to the game in its entirety. Put something in Cooperstown that says, "Hey, by the way, this guy had most hits of all time, and then we had to kick him out of the game because he gambled on the game. And that's the one rule we don't let people break. And this guy broke it, and that's his story now." It seems like the obvious answer to me. This thing of like, oh God, it's so tiring, Travis. In this world, everything is either black or white. Everything is either good or bad in its entirety. You've got to pick a side. You can't have this nuanced opinion about something where you go, okay, I see the merit on both sides. No, damn it, you better pick a side and do it passionately and call the other side evil and stupid and dumb. And if people don't agree with you, then cut them out of your life. And Pete Rose is a part of that. Like, all right, you got to make your decision. Is he a Hall of Famer or is he the worst human ever? He was a human being. He was all of those things in between.
And the key there is human. He was human.
He was human. He was the most human. The guy had a lot of mistakes. So you're right. It's feel good legislation. The thing that upsets me about this is like, Rob Manfred, stay in your lane. The president is working on some really important stuff. Baseball should not be one of the things he's thinking about. Pete Rose should not be on the president's brain. Now, I'm all for it. I believe you can walk and chew gum at the same time. I believe that politicians can focus on multiple things at one time. This should not be on the priority list. Rob Manfred, if you want to reinstate Pete Rose, reinstate Pete Rose. Baseball should have nothing to do with immigration policy. Nothing. Baseball should react to immigration policies, not be a driver for immigration policies. What the hell does Rob Manfred know about immigration policies? I mean, Rob Manfred, you've got your own ducks to get in a row, dude. You're losing control of the game. People are wondering about your effectiveness. So anyway, I see this stuff. I go, oh, geez.
Yeah, because I just look at it as it's too little, too late. I mean,
yeah. What you're trying to do here is win people over. Feel good legislation is exactly what this would be.
On both sides. That's why you go, when President Trump comes out, I'm going to give a full pardon to Pete Rose. You don't need to pardon him. I mean, he was guilty of what he did. But Rob Manfred, all he has to do is say, I'm going to reinstate Pete Rose. But I don't know what that does for baseball fans.
We all are going to get to see the way that history plays out. We're all going to get to watch this happen. We all saw Pete Rose. We all know who that guy was. We all have seen the stories about the 14-year-old girlfriends and the horrible stuff that Pete Rose was accused of doing in his lifetime, and then asked many times to come clean about it. Hey, man, just be honest with the things we know. Nope, that wasn't me. He pulled the old Shaggy line on us his entire life. Then at the end, tried to get contrite and go, okay, yeah, all right, I'll start signing these things. I bet on baseball, and I'll continue to squeeze the turnip here to get as much out of it as I can. I look at him like a Lance Armstrong type of figure. You lied and lied and lied, and then did the Mark McGwire thing.
Destroyed lives in between.
Destroyed relationships. Told people that said, hey, he's lying. Nope. I don't. That person's not in my life anymore because they don't believe my lies. I like what Dean says here. Rob Manfred, you want to work on something? Work on your blackout rules. Pete Rose,
who's dead?
We're $38 trillion in debt, and we're taking time for the President of the United States to talk about Pete freaking Rose? How important do we think we are in the sports world, man? Rob Manfred should not get the time of day with the president. And by the way, Donald Trump knows as much about baseball as Rob Manfred knows about immigration policy. The Pete Rose conversation is so old, tired, and then people get all passionate about it. It's a lot like politics. You've picked your side. You don't want to hear anybody else's argument about it. You decided when you were 11 years old whether Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame or not, and damn it, you've never changed your mind. I'm fortified. I'm locked in.
And probably never will change your mind.
No, nothing is going. The guy's dead. The guy's dead. Nothing is going to change. The story doesn't get to evolve at all.
I mean, you could almost say keeping Pete Rose out of baseball makes him an even more popular. I mean, shoeless Joe Jackson is still popular today because of the Black Sox scandal, correct?
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Keeping Pete Rose out, you just keep his legacy alive. This debate will continue, sadly, up until he is actually put into the Hall of Fame, which even if you were to lift the ban, I don't know if he would be put in by the Veterans Committee or not. There's enough old players that don't like Pete Rose for a number of reasons. Now, Major League Baseball has no problem today taking gambling dollars for promotion and to help pay the bills for everything. But yeah, that was he's going to rule on it in the next couple of weeks, he believes.
JT with my favorite comment of the morning. Has ESPN gone to Pete Rose's grave to get his thoughts on Shedeur Sanders? That'd be a very ESPN thing to do.
Everybody has an opinion on Shedeur Sanders. Hell, we've wasted a lot of time on this show talking about Shedeur Sanders.
The thing this morning, so there was a Shedeur Sanders story this morning.
Really?
Dude. Again, this almost seems comical. Shedeur Sanders was added to the Canadian Football League franchises negotiation list, and the Argonauts have already claimed dibs on him.
Because if he doesn't make it out of training camp, he might want to go play in the Canadian Football League. He would be a star in the Canadian Football League.
The Toronto Argonauts added Shedeur Sanders to their negotiation list.
Hey, if things don't work out for you in Cleveland, Toronto's a beautiful city this time of year.
Wonder where they're at on Dion's franchise list. I got franchises I'm not going to let him play for. Cleveland wasn't on that list.
You know, if you're a football player, would you rather play in the Canadian Football League or the UFL?
Oh. I don't know. I think maybe the UFL right now.
Maybe because it has the backing of the
It's
National
starting to
Football
get, yeah,
League.
and it seems like it's actually on the ascension. The Canadian Football League's been there, and the Canadian Football League is not. Nothing's happening with the popularity of the Canadian. There's no WNBA moment happening for the Canadian Football League.
Now, a good number. Warren Moon came out of the Canadian Football League. Doug Flutie came out of the Canadian Football League.
You're talking 40 years ago now, though.
Yes,
dude.
that's true. That's true. And there was no real alternative.
Herschel he was UFL. USFL. Yeah.
Yes. Reggie White was a USFL guy. Jim Kelly was a USFL guy.
Yeah.
But the USFL was so short-lived, and that was all money-driven because Donald Trump at the time with the New Jersey Generals and all that, they threw all sorts of money and then lost their butt. So those players back then said, well, I'll take the money. I'm going to make a lot more in the USFL than I will make. And always knowing that, well, if this thing doesn't work out, I'll land in the NFL. I'm that good.
The Browns have made some interesting choices, not just the Deshaun Watson one from a couple years ago and then being the only team that decided that Shedeur Sanders would be a benefit to their squad. Yesterday, they also signed Deontay Johnson. Do you know that name at all? He's a wide receiver. He played for 3 different NFL teams last year.
Last year?
Last year. And had like flame out exits from all 3 of them. And the Browns just signed him because, why not?
Because it didn't work there, but it could work here.
I mean, we've got Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. Who the hell's going to pay attention to this guy? We got headlines flying out of this locker room.
The Browns. The Browns.
I think Mark Hanrahan has a great point here. He says, I'm guessing it was Trump that wanted to talk about Pete Rose and not Rob Manfred. And that's a good point because of this. Rob Manfred has been very consistent about Pete Rose, and there's a long lineage of mentors that leads to that. Bart Giamatti mentored Bud Selig. Bud Selig mentored Rob Manfred. And those 3 men were very consistent. Obviously, Giamatti was the guy that banned Pete Rose. Bud Selig held to that during the course of his tenure, and Rob Manfred did it at a really tough time when Pete Rose was dying. So all 3 of those guys said, we're not letting this guy back in. Mark probably makes a good point there that it was probably some 3 a.m. thought from the president of the United States of, I should talk to the commissioner of baseball. I can solve this.
I mean, if you want to talk immigration, that's fine. But we're going to talk.
But we really need to talk Pete Rose.
We need to get
to the bottom of this. And then the other thing is, can you do something about the Rockies and the White Sox?
We got a major problem here.
We got a major problem. I'm trying to fix the border. Can you fix the Rockies and the White Sox, please?
Hey, the Kentucky Derby's coming up this weekend.
I did not know that.
Yeah. No all-ball horses, I believe, in this year's race. Admiral Dennis is bypassing the race, so I don't believe the Albaugh family stables has a horse in the Kentucky Derby, which usually brings a lot more Iowans.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to get to know Mr. Albaugh a few times, to meet him a few times. I know Jason Lutz pretty well. Knowing those guys does give me a tiny bit of interest. You know what I mean? It gives me something of like, oh, that'd be really cool if this horse won, because I have met the owner. That's kind of neat. If one of those horses isn't racing, Travis, zero interest.
Now, Bob Baffert is back at the Kentucky Derby this year after a 3-year ban. That's kind of an interest for me, just because, I mean, if you were to say one name in horse racing, what do you know? I know the name of horses that have won the Triple Crown, and I know Bob Baffert, just because Bob Baffert's got the silver hair, and so many of his horses have
That's
won.
a great point. If you said, give me a name in horse racing, animal or owner, and Bob Baffert would be one of the first ones that most people would say, yeah.
And, of course, he's been banned for the last 3 years because he drugged a horse or horses several years ago.
Hold on. Let's be clear. He got caught drugging a horse.
Yes, he got caught.
He didn't get kicked out for drugging a horse. Otherwise, it'd be slim pickings.
You think? But the thing that cracks me up about the Kentucky Derby, and it's one of those things I like to turn on right at post time, but this is like Super Bowl coverage. I mean, it literally is like Super Bowl coverage for like 5 hours leading up to the race. I don't understand it, but it happens, and it's coming up this weekend. 515-517-2303.
I just wish there was actually a true horse race to find out who the fastest horse on the planet is. That's not what this is. It's never been that. I wish that there was.
What would be the distance, though? Because that's why,
I mean, just like they do in the Olympics. Why not have multiple distances? Let's find out who the fastest sprinting horse is, and find out who the fastest long distance horse is.
I think
this becomes like a decathlon for the horses.
All right, Ben McCollum has just hopped on. Coach, if you can hear us, we got to take a quick break. Be about 4 minutes, and we'll be back with Iowa basketball coach Ben McCollum next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm Corey Warren, and I'm an automotive technician here. I've worked here for right over 3 years. I was working for an independent shop. I'd say the environment, like it's laid back and easy to get along with everybody. I've got a lot of old cars me and my brothers and dad work on, so I do a lot of that stuff. There's actually stuff to do. I grew up in a small town, so there's not that far from being able to do stuff.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time homebuyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Spring cleaning continues. Come down to Land Rover Des Moines to get your front and rear differential fluid services done for $199.95 each. Preventative maintenance is important to ensure your vehicle runs smoothly down the road. To schedule, give us a call or head online at LandRoverDesMoines.com.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. The last time we caught up with Ben McCollum, he was on his way to the NCAA tournament, coaching Drake. Since then, a lot of things have happened.
A lot of changes. A lot of changes.
And he joins us now. Are you in Iowa City or are you in Des Moines? Have you made the full move yet? Where are you at, Coach?
Right now, I'm in Des Moines. I have to go to an iClub event tonight in Carroll, Iowa. So came back for a little bit, and then I'll go to that, and then I'll drive back to Iowa City after that.
How has this transition been different than previous ones?
Previous one.
Previous one. Okay, good point. Good point. Yeah.
This one happened 9 months afterwards. So,
okay.
It's been good. I think that obviously I didn't see this coming. When we initially took over Drake, I mean, we just moved into our house in October in Des Moines. And so, we didn't see this coming at all. And then we built it for the long term. We built it with tough kids, and obviously tough kids win, and then you win. And a few jobs had come calling, but they weren't necessarily anything that I was going to leave Drake for. And then obviously one in, an hour 45 away, hour and a half away, just made sense. So it's been good though. We went through it once, and so that helps. I think the hardest part is trying to find a house, trying to put your roster together. We did have our staff more in place this time, which was really helpful. And then, after that, making sure that we get our schedule together and do all those things.
Do you have much say in the house, or do you say, honey, you pick the house, I'm going to go build a roster, you pick the house and tell me what the address is?
It's hard to find houses. I'm not going to lie to you. We've had really nice houses. We have a great one in Waukee, and we had a great one in Maryville, and we're pretty picky. So when we moved to Des Moines, we were in an Airbnb for about 3 to 4 months while this one was being finished.
Wow.
So we'll figure it out. I guess it would be her job then at that point. It's brutal, trust me.
Oh man, Ben McCollum joining us on the Rush Radio Show. Of course, you've been building a roster. CBSSports.com, I think 24/7 Sports has your transfer portal class, I think, ranked number 5 in the country. That started with Bennett Sturts, who was the number 3 ranked player in the transfer portal. How hard was it to build a roster? How easy was it to build a roster?
Both. I think it was both. I think the tough part was, obviously we had our Drake kids, so that helps. We had 5 that came with us from Drake, 6 possibly 5 that came with us from Drake, and then then you can sprinkle in the right fits after that. And we wanted to get enough high school kids just to make sure that we develop kids from behind and make them a little bit better. So we did that as well. Now it's just we've got to complete it with probably 1 or 2 more. If we get the right 1 or 2 more, I think we've got a solid team.
What's been the hardest part of these last month?
It's staying present. I think anytime you take over a job, your inability to stay present on what you're doing is very difficult because there's so many things unfinished. And it's just constant, and you just literally live in the chaos where your roster's unfinished, your schedule's unfinished, your staff might be unfinished, you got to hire a strength coach, your family, number one, you don't have a house in Iowa City, you haven't moved them, you haven't picked a school, and so you just are constantly trying to just finish something. And so it's been a year of this. It's been tough to stay present, but we're gonna get there. I think this is the benefit of this is I don't think there's a lot that can really lure me away. It is the highest level, and we're excited to take it on.
You bring up a good point. People forget, they see you as the head coach of the University of Iowa, and the expectations go that. But you just brought up, there's real life that happens behind the doors. Right? There's a lot of real life that happens.
Yes. Oh, it's real life. Yeah, it's real life. It's tough, and it's tougher on families probably than than anything. You know, I think for my family, just having to move and do all those things, it's been really difficult. But it's kind of what they signed up for, I guess. At this point, I'm not sure that my wife feels that way, but
I think you've nailed it, Coach. It's compounding it with just having done it, right? You were a stalwart, man. You'd had your roots set, and then you decided to uproot and come, and now here 9 months later, really, you're kind of going through that same thing. I think that's probably part of what the family's experiencing there is just compounded.
oh yeah, no, it's tough. I think the roots we had in Maryville were obviously, you know, extremely difficult to leave, and our kids had so many friends, and we have friends here as well. Obviously, it's not as much over time, but you kind of just slowly start to settle back in here, and then it's like, okay, now we're going to leave again, and oh yeah, and this one, you're not going to be really able to go into any supermarkets or any restaurants or anywhere without being recognized. And so for me, I understand it. For my wife, we understand it. But for kids, it's a lot more difficult to handle that.
Coach, we were talking earlier about the advent of the general manager. We're seeing it in college football a lot more, seeing it in college basketball. Shaquille O'Neal just named the assistant general manager at Sacramento State. You've got Steph Curry at Davidson. You have a chief of staff in Jesse Shaw, but is he also a general manager, or are you going to have a general manager? And what does that position actually entail if you are?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have one. Yes. Basically, ours is going to be more recruiting coordinator. We haven't hired it at this point. That's one of the last staff members that I'm going to hire. And basically with that, it's more recruiting coordinator. They'll do some of the agent negotiations. It probably won't be as high level as, you know, like your Dukes of the world or teams like that, you know, may have considerable amount of money and are working only with 5 stars. You know, I think for us, we're a little bit unique in that we're still going to develop kids. We do have plenty of NIL. It's not, you know, obviously the most in the country, but we got enough to be very, very competitive. And so, you know, mine will be more, okay, we need to navigate high school. We need to make sure that we're up on how much everybody's getting paid around the country, how much high school kids are getting paid. And now if there's rev share, then it's roster construction. So if we do end up going to a rev share that actually has a cap to it, now you're trying to construct rosters and you're trying to create NIL opportunities, real NIL opportunities for your kids.
Wow. All right. So can we talk about that change in recruiting? And obviously this is a world that's changing by the day, it seems like, Coach, but how different is recruiting in 2025 than it was even last year? And obviously you're talking about a huge level change here also, going from building a roster at Drake to building a roster at Iowa.
It's a lot different. You know, you can build it quicker, but you don't have anybody in there that you had. And so, you know, when we took over at Northwest the first time, it was we did get some high school kids. We got a couple transfers, but it wasn't like there was this massive transfer market. And there wasn't social media at the time. I think it was just coming in. And so how you found transfers was through word of mouth, talking to people. And now it's just like they just pop up on Twitter, or they pop up in the transfer portal, or they get on Facebook or whatever, not Facebook, but whatever these kids look at. And so then you obviously chase them down. You have to talk to their agent. You have to talk to the kid. You have to talk to the parents. You know, and then some kids probably want more promises than what they've used to have because they have more leverage because they can leave whenever they want. So, you know, it's tricky. We still want to do it a little bit our way, where we are recruiting some high school kids and developing them and really doing it with a genuine heart. Obviously, you're still going to have to work in spaces. And honestly, there are some really good agents out there that really do help find kids the right opportunities, the right spots, and it works out great for them.
You know, you mentioned earlier and by the way, he just said we're all old because you laughed at Facebook. We're the old people that still use Facebook.
You still use MySpace, don't you?
I know. I was late to the social media game. I never had a MySpace page ever.
Gotcha.
Never.
True story though, Coach. He does use LinkedIn.
I use LinkedIn all the time.
I can't even figure that out. Somebody tried to get me on there once, and I'd get notifications that I was on, and I'm like, I don't even know how to use this. Like, this is too much.
Me and you both, Coach. Glad to hear it.
I'm telling you, LinkedIn, you don't get a lot of the crap. Okay, it's nice. Just
Here comes this. I
motivational
shouldn't
stuff.
have mentioned it.
Yes,
You're going to get the
yes.
elevator pitch on LinkedIn.
I'm going to make the
now.
elevator pitch for LinkedIn. I forget what I was going to say. I guess, what are the holes that you have to fill? You just got a big kid out of the Horizon League, 6'9". Do you want more size? How many more do you want to add to the roster? And what specifically are you looking for?
You know, I think I'd like to be picky and figure it out. You know, meaning like you'd like to, okay, I want a big guy, or I want a guard, or I want this. I think the really tricky part about the Big Ten is sometimes you just have to take a player that can play in the Big Ten, like, and then figure out your roster after that. Because they literally had one person coming back, and you're trying to recruit Big Ten caliber players in the matter of a month. That's not exactly easy, especially if you're trying to fit specific positions into like, okay, I need this guard. Well, you know, so does Alabama. Like, so you know, so does North Carolina. Like, there's some problems there, right? And so we would just like somebody that can play in the Big Ten. Now, perfect world scenario, do you always want the 7-footer? Yeah, that'd be awesome. If you guys have one of those, let me know. And do you want a point guard? Well, we've got a really good point guard, and we got another one coming with us. So we'll be okay there. But you know, point guards are hard to come by as well. Those two positions are by far and away the hardest to get.
You mentioned revenue share earlier on. The House settlement has not come through yet. We're hoping that that gets approved the next couple of weeks. But what will revenue share look like at Iowa? A lot of people made the assumption it's going to be 90% football and everything else after that. And how much say do you have with Beth Getz and everybody else of what that revenue share will be if there is a cap at $21.5 million?
Yeah, I mean, I probably don't have a ton of say. You know, I think that's Beth's decision and her administrators. And it's our job to do with whatever we get, you know, do a good job with that. I will say, from an administrative support standpoint, it's been exponentially, you know, better than what anyone from the outside would think. You know, obviously it's a football school, and it is, and it's a really good football school. And you know, obviously they have wrestling. Women's basketball is phenomenal. Baseball is winning the conference. Softball's, you know, and so it's like you just go down the list. Like, every sport is good there for the most part. And so we have to maintain that as well. But they've done nothing but support men's basketball and want it to be successful and want to get back to what it was. And, you know, it's my job to be able to do that.
What's been the best part of these last 5 weeks?
You know, kind of reinvigorating University of Iowa. It's something that you took a lot of pride in as a kid.
Huh.
And you go out and I think with Iowa people, it's more like your micro interactions than it is like a major interaction. So obviously you attend certain events, and those are great, and those certainly help. But it's really just walking down the street and taking a picture with somebody, or you know, shaking somebody's hand in the supermarket or whatever it may be. Those are the genuine interactions that probably go a long way for what Iowa is about and what it's meant to be here. And then, you know, hopefully by doing those things, people come back and people show support, and people get to games and really get this thing to another level.
You know, we watched you a couple weeks ago throughout the first pitch of an Iowa baseball game. We've had Coach Heller on the show just a couple weeks ago. They're playing great baseball, but you threw a dart, man. I mean, you threw a dart. So I'm
look at the confidence.
I don't disagree. There's no disagreement there.
See, that's the competitive spirit. And the first time you were on, you were talking about what a great sport you were growing up and how nice you were to everybody and everything. Besides basketball, what were your sports in high school? Were you a baseball player? Because that was impressive.
Yeah, I think I was actually better at baseball. I wasn't blessed with the genetics for basketball. I'm 5'11", and you know, I got enough length, but probably not enough to be great. And so, yeah, baseball was my sport. And that pitch, I don't know if you saw the gun. I think it was 95 it registered. High spin rate, had a little cut to the outside. The spin rate was phenomenal. They actually got it on the little TrackMan. It had my spin rate and everything. I was considering throwing a breaking ball. I was a little concerned that I'd spike it, but it was outside corner. I mean, it painted the outside corner. So,
and if you only get one shot, Coach, you got to show off the speed. I mean, the velocity is what's gonna turn the heads. That's a smart move.
No, that impresses people, and it's like Game 7, and you got to throw that last pitch. You don't want to leave something over the plate, and so that little cut at the. I'm surprised the catcher caught it. To be perfectly honest with you, but he did excellent catcher. But next time I'm going to bring a breaking ball.
See, I love this because we all did. Ross has thrown out a first pitch. I've thrown out a first pitch. And when you throw it inside, deep down, you go, yeah, I nailed it. I mean, there is, even though it's just ceremonial, you feel pretty good when you deliver it, don't you?
Yeah. And some of us really nail it and some of us just think it. I think I nailed it. So.
Yeah, I think it, Coach. That's
yeah.
Don't show me video of my first pitch. In my mind, it looked like Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. I've seen people throw it over the backstop and stuff like that, and I can see if you haven't pitched or there's a level of nerves, like you kind of get amped. I can see that happening. So I had to warm up to make sure that I actually was fairly accurate with it.
While you're back in town, I know you got to go to Carroll tonight. Willis Automotive, of course, presents this show. We know your car comes from Willis Automotive. Do you take it over for a quick oil change, get it detailed while you're in town?
Yeah, I think they're switching it out. I don't know if this one's nice enough. So, no, that's a joke. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, oh, damn.
Lord, it's as nice as it gets. No,
it's a sweet ride, dude.
Oh, I know. I said, he said, well, what are you thinking? And I said, well, I've drove the same truck until I came to Drake. I drove the same truck for like 12 years. Like, I'm as low maintenance as it gets in regards to cars. But I said, recruits want to see really cool screens and they want to see nice leather. And I said, that's all that matters to me. That's really all I care about. And so I show up and there's one in the showroom and I'm just like, okay, so let's go get one of these outside. And he's like, no, that's the one we're going to give you. I'm like, oh, this is more expensive than my first house. I didn't know how to use it. No, it's nice. It's pretty high level. So
does it drive itself? Does it have that self-driving feature?
I would assume so. I haven't tried to use it yet. I'm too nervous, but I'm certainly grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that they put me in something so nice because it's just from a recruiting perspective, it makes all the difference in the world.
So that still makes a difference with recruits. Wow. Like, what's coach's ride?
Well, when you get in and it's so sharp, it sends a message that your program is very detailed and sharp and clean and all those things. And so, it does show some level of prestige and that sort of thing. But there's also a sharpness to it that kids like, I guess. I don't know.
Are you going to the WNBA game on Sunday? You going to be back for the sellout at Carver for that?
I have tickets. Yes, I am going to try to attend. If I can get back, I might actually be in Indianapolis with one of my kids. So we're going to see if we can make it back. But I have tickets.
We were joking about how like Sac State's bringing in Shaquille O'Neal. We just think like the Iowa athletic department should just hire Caitlin Clark as the assistant GM for like all sports because you just have her make a phone call and that might be the most popular basketball player on the planet right now.
Yeah, she's pretty high level. I mean, she's obviously some of the things that she's navigated from an external standpoint. I don't think she probably even gets enough credit. And handled it with elite class. And I see it from, obviously a smaller lens than that, just from my own, what you deal with on a daily basis. And the things that, the interesting part is the things that get written that just are completely and utterly untrue. And you're just like, and you want to just defend like, dude, that's a lie. But somebody printed it and other people believe it and then they run with it. And I can only imagine the stuff that people have written about her, and she maintains a level of class, which is probably the most impressive part.
Well, you still got a roster to build, but you got a little time to breathe with the portal closed. Coach, I'm this is a compliment, by the way. It is since the day you took the job, And you've been kind enough to come on here. This is your third time on the show now. Your body language, not that it was bad body language before, but you just seem happy. It was like you could tell it on your face. This is the job you wanted. And I think I think that's contagious. And I think there's a reason Iowa fans are excited. And I can see why recruits would be excited, because it generally comes off in your aura about this job.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's one that you kind of have to pinch yourself, just because it's not necessarily something that I pursued. Like, I never tried to get this job. It was just, I just did the best job in the job that I was in and tried to make that place better because we were there. Like, I never once was like, I'm going for this job, I'm going for that job. And, and then it works out the way it's supposed to, because you stay present in the job that you're at. And that's what we did. That's why we were able to win so many games. And, that's why I'm at University of Iowa now.
Of course, Iowa fans expect 30 wins next year. Just to let you know, 30 wins is the benchmark.
31. Which ones are we going to lose if we only get 30?
Oh, man. No pressure, though. No pressure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for the time. And I appreciate you being so honest with us about some of the stuff, man. This is, it's been an interesting couple of weeks for you and the family. You can see that on your face as well. So thank you for giving us time and chatting with us about this stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Have fun in Carroll tonight.
I will.
All right, thanks.
Beautiful town. See you, bud.
See ya. Ben McCollum joining us on the Rush Radio Show. Just what he's had to, we're just talking a month from, and you hear about, hey, I'm in Waukee. I'm trying to find a house. There's probably not too many houses to find. You always call Ross Peterson an agency Iowa. And
well, it's in Iowa City. I'd recommend. I'd send you to an agent over there.
Yeah.
Travis, we've talked about this word a lot. We've beat this word up in the final days of the Fran McCaffrey era. Connection. What's been the best part of this 5 weeks, Coach? You know what the best part has been? Meeting people. These micro transactions
not at like he's going to a big Hawk event tonight in Carroll. That'd be nice, and he'll get everybody. But it's that one-on-one meeting with individual fans.
That rang a lot of bells for me when he said that, because Travis, when we in the political world, we're lucky enough to be a caucus state that has we used to be the first of the nation, right? Politicians for decades talked about that very thing that Coach McCollum just mentioned, that the thing that was unique about the Midwest and Iowa was the one-on-one that you got, that people responded to that. We like to feel that connection. We like to look in somebody's eyes, shake their hand. How are you? How's the family? That sort of thing. And then that builds a connection. It's the thing that we always felt like, man, Fran just didn't ever
connect.
I can't ever see Fran saying, you know what my favorite part of today was? I was at Hy-Vee and some guy came up to me and said, good luck. Big fan. That, I don't know what it was. When he said that, I was like, that's it. That's the connection thing. That, because what happens is that individual goes back to his office, he goes back to his block party, he goes back to his family reunion, and he goes, you guys aren't going to believe this. I met Ben McCollum, and he was incredibly nice. He was the guy I thought he would be. He asked me for my name. He wanted to know something about my life. This guy's awesome. That stuff didn't happen with Fran McCaffrey. People that met him did like Fran. I want to be clear there. Nobody was like, oh, God, that guy's a jerk. In fact, people would be like, oh, he's actually a much nicer guy in person than he comes across as sometimes on that television screen. But not like that. You nailed it, Travis. The expectations are growing and growing and growing, and kind of in a jokey way, hey, better win 31 games next year or people are going to be pissed.
Did you know that too? I said 30. He goes, well, it's 31.
You're going to have to win, or people are going to get up. The nice guy act will only take you so far.
I don't think it's an act, though. I don't think it's an act.
And I shouldn't have said act. That was rude of me to say. Not nice guy act. Being a nice guy is only going to get you so far in college sports.
Yes.
We saw it with Steve Prohm. We saw it with Licklider. you've got to win. Seems to me like he's a guy that's going to win, but man, he's got all of this other stuff before the winning. He's nailing it.
And
Trav, it's funny. You talked about his body language. I actually thought at the beginning of that, like, this is a different. He seemed a little bit more stressed and tense than the last, tired maybe. Because man, think about what these last 5 weeks have been. And then he talked about it for a second, like, dude, we don't know where the family is going to be. We don't have a home yet. We just went through this process after 15 years in one place. Now I'm running these kids around. Wife doesn't know where she's going to be living. Kids don't know where they're going to school.
Might have to go to Indianapolis this weekend with my kid.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm trying to build a roster that can compete in the Big Ten that had one dude. And then that goes to that conversation we've had before about priorities. What is the top priority on that list? And he said it. You live in the chaos. Every day it's a different priority. Some days it's recruiting. Some days it's house hunting. Some days it's problems with the family. I mean, because you're still going to have sick kids. And I like that guy a lot. Big fan.
Me too. And he's was kind enough to give us 20 minutes today. I'll repost the entire interview in its entirety on our YouTube channel a little bit later on today. But we do want to thank Ben McCollum for joining us, talking about his transition from Drake to Iowa City, and it's been a good one. You just got to find a house now. Just got to find a house.
Somebody put a comment in and said, "Hey, Fran's house is available."
He's Ross Peterson. I'm Travis Justice. This has been the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. We are back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Look forward to seeing you. Have a great Tuesday, everybody.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how bats and bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the champagne of bars.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Hey everybody, this is Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity. A couple of great things going on this month. We got tons of inventory, and on top of that right now, we have 1.99 out to 60 months on the new QX60 and up to $2,500 in cash on here. Also this month, we are still doing the 2.9% up to 60 on new QX80s, the 3000 in Conquest. For more information, visit your favorite Infinity sales consultant on our showroom or online at willisinfinity.com.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before, you know it's true. And still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.